How you doing, boys and girls? Let's talk about this Fidelity and their cash management account. I want to make this video for so long, and I've not had the courage to do it. And because I believe because I didn't really meet the crossover, but now that I have, I've seen um I've seen a lot more positivity and the automation of my banking ecosystem, and I want to share that with y'all. So today we were talking about the crossover from SOFI to Fidelity's cash management account in 2026 of my banking ecosystem. Pretty much. So what was the issue with SOFI? I came in at SOFI when SOFI was around four. The rates were like around like 4.5, right? That was my high yield savings account. That was my first high yield savings account, right? So around early 2024, it was around, I think it was around March or May. When I first joined SoFi, I was really happy with the service. There was no customer service issues. I only used the banking, so it's only credit. It was only the debit cards. The debit card was a checking and savings account. Me not using them as much. I'm still using SoFi. I'm just not using them as much. They are still in my ecosystem. Let me explain. So when we talk about um, me, I prefer automation. My biggest pursuit in my banking and how my money moves is automation. I get very distracted easily. As y'all can see, I'm looking at geese instead of y'all. That's terrible. That is so bad. I'm looking at geese instead of y'all. So look, um, I get distracted easily. It's obvious. So I prefer automation because automation keeps me from touching things. I realized early in, like, when I was 18 and 19, that I needed automation to keep me from, being distracted. That was my biggest pursuit, and I went on a deep dive these last 4 months to find out, hey, why am I not reaching my goals as far as like my friends? My friends were hitting their goals so quickly. So I went in a deep dive. I purged my whole thesis on like how, or my background, pretty much my whole ideology on why I'm not. I'm making the money more. I'm making more money than them, but they're not. They're hitting their goals quicker than me, and it was pretty much, they were just consistently investing. Their money was going in there quicker than me. To the point where I put a friend on to Fidelity. I put a friend onto SoFi, and he invested more money into his account more than me working at 7-Eleven. Whoa, that's insane. And I mean, mind you, I'll make more money than him. My pay rate was higher than his, and everything. All props to Big Bro, no cap. But I digress. So we're gonna talk about it. Automation. What the issue I ran into with SoFi and automation was, I could not, I couldn't schedule any. I couldn't pick a date and have it scheduled automatically. Um, to any. I couldn't transfer anything to SoFi. So pretty much, right? If I wanted to say, hey, I want to transfer this money to Navy Fed, right? I want to transfer this money to Navy Fed on this day every month. I want you to do that for me. You can't do it on SoFi. All right, so look, I was wrong. I wanted to have specific days. So, for example, every third Thursday of the month, I would have a recurring transfer coming out from SoFi to Fidelity. That's what I wanted, and that was not possible through Fidelity. Well, sorry, through SoFi. So I had to move my accounts over from my deposits from SoFi to Fidelity in order to get that done, and that's why I had to really move my stuff over. But yeah, sorry about that. It's called Plaid, and that's only how you can transfer money. So I couldn't transfer money to my brokerage account. That was the hardest thing too. So with using Fidelity, I couldn't transfer money to Fidelity at all. So I had to send money out of Fidelity, which transfer from out from Fidelity take about 7 to 10 days. That's a long time. So when we're looking at how can we automate things, it made more sense for me to transfer my money, find a way to get my money into Fidelity first, and then transfer out to wherever which way I need it to be. So that brought the issue of, okay, so should I just transfer, have my deposits go into Fidelity, and how can I do that? I already had a cash management account. I knew what it was. I had a debit card already. I figured what it was. I figured out how to get my money through it first. I was using it. I was using it as an emergency fund, keeping separate money in. I was using it as an emergency fund, but I was using it just to get access to the market, and while having access to the market, just get higher rates. So instead of me keeping all my money in SoFi, I was, because the people just keep it as a IO savings account. You have more access to the market. You have access to certain money markets, and you get a slightly higher rate certain places. So I can use it to get to tap into SGov, where those are like 1 to 3 month T bills, or I can use it as or I can use it as what else? I can use it to access like FDLXX, which that's like the Fidelity money market account, or keeping it SPACs, which that's a core market, that's a core position where you just let it sit there, and then it will go up and down per the Fed rates. So when we talk about these when we talk about these all these positions and how they all up and down, you have options, but you have options to the stock market. The stock market options, they're endless. You can invest your money any which way, sell it, and you get capital gains from that too. So it was more of an incentive to keep my money in, majority of my money in this Fidelity cash management account. So I did some research and whatnot. Use ChatGPT. I'm still young, so I use ChatGPT just to find out, how could I maximize what I was doing with this cash management account. And it led me down to some a little ways where it was I was using two cash management accounts. I was one as a savings, one as a check-ins. I already have a debit card for one, so I didn't need to order another debit card. And which I don't use my debit cards anyway. I use my credit cards, and then I pay it back at the end of the month. Before I pay the whole statement balance at the end of the month, so I don't incur interest to pay the bank back. You understand? And so I have two accounts as like acting as like a checking and savings account. I just live with my checking and savings. I have my retirement accounts with them. I have all my brokerage accounts with them. I have everything all in one place. It was easier to keep everything in one place. To me, for if you're using Fidelity, it makes sense to me to keep all my money coming in one place, and it just transfer out other places. Now, what I will say is this: once you do have this up, you have to build the systems and build the recurring systems out in Fidelity, which is not hard. It's really easy. Make sure you link up all your accounts. Once you link up the bank, like the routing number, and then the account number for one, and you're checking your savings, it won't automatically link the rest, but it will instantly link all the rest accounts you have with them. So I found it out today. Like today, I linked up. I in the past I linked up my checking or a savings account with Navy Federal, and I have other savings accounts in them, right? So the second and third savings accounts automatically linked up because I had that connection already established, and now I was able to transfer money out from in and out from my my Roth and my savings all within one, all just because I linked them up. So a good process, and everything was all in one place. It was the best all around model for me. But remember, you still have a lot of advantages when you come in here. You know exactly what day is coming in, what day is coming out. You're still able to invest the money that you have in. The reason why I kept SoFi in the loop was because of liquidity. Understand that even though you are using an account, that has transfers and whatnot, that has, access to the market, you have access to a lot of other things. One thing you don't have access to is fast transfers. Like peer-to-peer transfers. You don't have access to a lot of you don't have access to a lot of quick money unless you're having like a tap or a place where they can just like take payments with card. So you have to understand you need quick access to money. If you in that instance, you will go on and you will use SoFi. SoFi really does dominate in that matter. It does. It really does. Because SoFi, what they do is they have Zelle built into them, right? Which almost any other bank has Zelle. If you have two banks, this thing can really work with two banks. I don't use Navy Federal as my other bank because they don't have vaults, and personally I like to see my all my goals in vaults, so I can just pull them out and push them through that way. That's the only reason why I really have SoFi or still, because they have vaults and they have Zelle. Zelle is instant transfers. So I add money to my emergency fund whenever I need to, and then I replenish it from Fidelity, which takes a couple days. But if that's too much of a hassle for you, I understand. But that's the system I have, and that's why I left. That's why I'm leaving majority of my money into Fidelity and not in SoFi, which I once was doing. So in the video, I just made I did not cover a few things, and I skipped over a couple things, and some things I did want to add on. So, and I want to go over that real quick. One was about diversification. My biggest point was to be diversified. The reason why I mentioned Navy Fed, Fidelity, and SoFi was because I want to be diversified. The fact that I even had SoFi and Navy Federal in the first place on top of Fidelity, which is an investment firm in general, is because I feel like me personally in my philosophy with my money, I need at least three. Um, I want to be diversified with my money. I want money. I'm stretching across a multitude of places, working for me while I sleep, and also on top of me working for me while I sleep. I wanted to be liquid, and that was I was going into my next point. Also, another reason why I didn't want my money just sitting in Navy Federal was because even though they do have Zelle, they do offer Zelle too. What they don't offer is an instant Zelle. They don't have instant Zelle. I've tried I do try, and I have tried Zelle transfers, and I've gotten hit with oh, you have to wait a day, or oh, you have to wait an hour or two, and that's just not how I wanted to have my money transferred peer to peer. With SoFi, since there is no physical locations, they usually send money instantly, and I've gotten instant transfers back and forth within. I've got multiple instant transfers back and forth instantly. So that's how I usually roll with SoFi. And last but not least, also I've gotten mobile deposits. Well, not mobile deposits, but like mobile like in house, like at a Walgreens, 7-Eleven, those type of deposits. You can go to any of those little convenience stores, go in there, say I got $1,000. You can deposit up to $1,000 to any of those. Like put two transactions. I mean, I work at a Walgreens myself, and I do those deposits almost every day. People come in there, oh, I got a deposit, or how much, and get the manager. They count the money up for you, and you get dropping off $1,000, and it only cost you, I think the rates go up and down, but I think for SoFi it's like $4.95, for like $5 you can deposit from $1,000, which that's not bad at all, honestly. So if you ask me, I feel like it's kind of worth it, especially if you need money on your account right now, you get the cash in your hand and you put it in your car, and there's no like ATM, Canadian Federal ATMs be out the woodworks. You can go ahead and put the money in your car. So that's one of my reasons why I feel like to keep it's more of an add-on addition to keeping on SoFi instead of just closing the whole account. So yeah. If y'all have any questions, y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all have any y'all have any other concerns, y'all let me know. Just let me know. I love to hear y'all opinion. I love to hear how y'all think. And yeah, I definitely comment down below, and I'll hit y'all up. I appreciate y'all boys. My name is Mr. Ins Glow, aka Leak, and I'll see y'all later.